I would say that's one of the highlights of my career. I was asked to be a part of the nominating committee, and I was actually one of the people that suggested that Flash and Company be put on the ballot. And when they got to the final ballot, it was then turned over to the general voting body. And I hear that the voting was close and it was sort of controversial, but Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five made it through and were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame will never be the same again. And direct all criticisms to me, because I was certainly not leaving that room unless they were at least going to be put on the ballot to have an opportunity.
How did you get involved in being on the committee?
Oh well, my mentor James Bernard, who was one of the co-founders of the Source, he's been on the committee for about 10 years.
Really?
And I'd always listen to his stories. Like Phil Spector was a member of the committee, and he would come in to the meetings, and I'd be like, "What? Did he try to shoot somebody? Like, man, that's real gangster right there." But ultimately, when they got through the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and turned the corner to the 80s,
right?
There are so many groups. There's a lot of new blood in music, and they wanted to have a sort of younger committee. Now, I'm 40 years old, so that's not that young, but everyone that's eligible from this year forward, we're talking about the 80s.
Sure.
And there's certain people, your expertise might be the 50s, your expertise might be the 60s or 70s. So, I think the committee was due for a turnover, and as long as everyone that really deserved to be in the hall, has been inducted. When we're talking about like the genesis of rock and roll, as long as those people are in there, then you can sort to open it up to other genres that are certainly rock influenced. And I thought that, based on the criteria of you had to have a record from 1981, I think that was the cutoff year. I thought Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five fit all the criteria. It's really it's hard to describe what Kool Herc did, because there's not a record
right
where you can say this is what Kool Herc did, and it's difficult to even show what Bambaataa did. But if you were going to put a single rap record in a time capsule and say let's try to figure out an accurate representation of hip hop. Well, I think if you pulled out any Grandmaster Flash record, people would understand, what hip hop was and is and always will be. So, like I said, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame graciously opened its doors to hip hop, and again, I was just pleased to be a part of that process. And who knows, there might be other rappers in the hall in the coming years, or there might not be. But I thought it was important that we get at least one. And Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five is a group that no one's really going to debate. You know, you know, we talk about the Cold Crush Brothers, but again, when you weigh the contributions and the criteria,
right.
it's Flash hands down, as far as I was concerned.
Were you there, or did he when he had his initial reaction, or do you recall any reaction from him or the group?
No, you basically make up the ballot, and it goes out, and you sort of hear things, but it's not like you go to Flash's house with a camera crew and gauge the reaction. You give it. That information goes out to the rest of the media. And I was able to see them on CNN, and I saw how gracious and heartfelt Melly Mel was, about just being nominated.
Right.
And I think that's very important. And even when we went to the ceremony itself, because amongst the general voting body, you know, we would hear stories, we'd hear rumors that, you know, there are a lot of people who weren't really happy about rap being included. So, you know, when R.E.M. was inducted the same night, and Michael Stipe, the lead singer of R.E.M., you know, when he said that, you know, he bought a Grandmaster Flash record in 1980, you know, I think, you know, he extended his hand and said, you know, real recognizes real, and we've all influenced each other, and you most certainly deserve to be here.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I mean, you know, I think back to some of these hip hop groups. You know, it is called Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but you know, to me, a group like Run DMC is just as rock and roll as any four-piece rock and roll band. Yeah.
Especially, you know, you're talking about a performance. You're talking about an energy.
Yeah, a reaction.
You're talking about, you know, the reactions of you know, your mother and father. You know, something new is coming down the pike that they might not understand, and you know, they might be afraid of it, and that's rock and roll. I don't think it should always be rebellious youth culture, but it should be different from anything that came before.
Sure.
And when you listen to old tapes of old block parties, and you know, all the breaks were from, you know, there's just a list of rock records that were just like classic breaks. So, you know, Flash is a DJ, Alan Freed was a DJ, you know, they deserve to be here.
Shout yeah. This time I'll let it be known how hip-hop culture has grown into a kingdom, and I am heir to the throne, rare as the architecture in Rome. It's been written in soul, marble, bricks, and stone. A powerful poem from the dome of original men who killed clones with vocal tones. Sharpen up the sever bones with clever zones, got cheddar sewn. If you sick of that whack shit, this is the medicine. Invented by a veteran, a master in ceremonies, terrorizing you microphony. Gangsters got me swole, I would murder you all, but I'm too busy watching my bankroll. Out the red carpet, record selling, tip the margin. I should name my style Humphrey, the way it be Bogartin. The charging, I rep only the garden. The double-edged sword is sharpened with the heat. I'm a marksman, 5'9" and dark skin, would have been the description.